Hi, I'm Amy Holland. I'm the Director of Specialty Sales for Charter Schools, School Choice, and Admissions here at Power School.
National School Choice Week aims to build awareness about school choice and effective education options for every child. It's not just about having choice, though. It's also about the school choice process itself. So we brought together thought leaders and asked them how to ensure access and equity in the school choice process.
Here at Power School, our solutions move the school choice process online, helping not only families have a better experience in family choice, but also helping administrators with a compliant and transparent process. Next, we'll hear from thought leaders from NACSA, Great Schools, and MRW on their thoughts around building family engagement and equity in school choice.
Hi, my name is Sam Oliveri, and I'm the Vice President of Program here at Great Schools. Great Schools is a national nonprofit organization. We help millions of parents get a great education for their child. We provide school information to help parents find high-performing, good-fit schools, and we provide resources to help parents support their child's learning. There is an expansion of school options for parents in cities across the country. And parents, this provides a really important access to choice and opportunity for families, and it also can create a complex system of navigating that choice, which can be overwhelming for families. So parents need to understand what their options are, they need to understand the quality of those options, and they also need to understand the process of selecting and enrolling in schools in a place where there is a complex fabric of choice and deadlines and procedures that is not very clear for many families. School choice is something that really plays out at a local level. So what we've done as a national organization is we are partnering with cities across the country where we're working with nonprofits, with schools, and with governmental entities who are providing access to more deeper information about schools and about the enrollment process, and leveraging the Great Schools technology platform and our reach to over half of families through the website to provide a localized school information solution that really helps parents understand what is their access to school options and how do they navigate those options. And we provide a lens of independence where there is more trust that parents have in the types of information we're providing. And we're also connecting parents to other parents to help them understand what do their peers think about schools, which is a hugely influential factor when people are making decisions. GreatSchools.org reaches over half of American families with school-age children every year. Last year we had 55 million unique visitors to the Great Schools site. A growing number of our users are accessing our site through mobile devices. About 40% of our traffic now comes in through a mobile device. And a growing portion of our users are in low-income households. 33% of our traffic has a household income of less than $40,000, compared to 29% of the population at large. So we're actually over-indexing in reaching low-income families. We're reaching a higher proportion of low-income families than the population at large. We really have an amazing potential to increase equitable access to school choice information with the communities that need it most. Information alone is not going to solve the problem of equitable access to good schools if there simply aren't enough good schools in your community. That's why here in the Bay Area, we've teamed up with Innovate Public Schools to mobilize parents to build demand for the growth of high-quality schools with a focus on low-income, predominantly Hispanic, Spanish-speaking communities. Parents want nearby schools that provide a safe environment, but also strong teachers, a solid academic curriculum, and enriching experiences for their children. Parents want kids to develop strong academic foundation, but also social and emotional skills. So in order to make an informed decision about what will be a good school for your child, of course you need to look at the basics like test scores. But also there are other really important measures of student learning that parents should really be aware of. Student growth is an important lens for parents because it tells you how much students are actually learning in a year rather than how much they already know. This is a really valuable measure for parents. Parents need to look at educational attainment. So, for example, at the high school level, how many students from each high school are going on to college and then having success in college. Other measures of student engagement, student discipline rates and chronic absenteeism give an important insight into the school climate. What is the instructional culture at that school? How well does the school attract, support, and cultivate high quality teachers? It's really critical for parents to understand how well schools serve students like theirs. So you want to look at information that is disaggregated by student subgroup. So how well does the school serve different groups by socioeconomic status, by race, as well as by students with disabilities or English language learners. So you really need to understand what are your needs as a family, what are the interests of your child, and is that school likely to serve those needs?
Hi, my name is Tom Willits. I'm president of MRW Visible. We are a full-service communications company that focuses on web and communications development for choice schools that are working to further the effort of bringing magnet, charter, and neighborhood schools together. We provide many services, including branding, identity, full-fledged media, print, web development, and all of these different services come into play in our work with different school districts. MRW Visible looks to create a campaign to help families really make the best choice for their particular child. And the way we've accomplished that is through a series of different means, whether that is in the case of a full media campaign, which can include billboards, television, radio, Facebook ads, social media campaigns. We've certainly done all of that sort of public-facing work. And at the same time, we've spent a lot of time on the ground at particular schools because we have certainly in many of these districts a rich component of different kinds of schools, whether magnet, charter, neighborhood, etc. And so one needs to really think wherever one is working, what languages exist, what's the socioeconomic makeup of that particular district, and really think about how best and how to simplify the information to make it possible for families to make the best choice for their child. In the case of a school chooser website or application, because it can certainly take place within a larger site, we really see it as having great benefits for families along the lines of what I've been speaking of trying to make it possible for families to access as much information as they can. So with people using their phones, certainly in the Hartford district, 70% of those parents are using their phones to access information. So it seems to make perfect sense to take data that exists and to make it possible for families to actually accomplish that data, look at that data, and really take into consideration in a fairly simple fashion what school there is, in what district, in what specific area of both, when I say an area, I mean both geography, from a geographical standpoint, but also from the standpoint of what is that school offering. And so I think that it's just another piece of the information that we can make available to people that helps them make the right choice for their child.
My name is Amanda Fenton, and I'm the Director of State and Federal Policy for the National Association of Charter School Authorizers. It's a bit of a mouthful. Authorizers are the folks that oversee charter schools. So in my role as Director of State and Federal Policy, I work with authorizers and other stakeholders to put policies in place that help with charter school oversight. Access and equity is a big priority for NACSA within the school choice process. It's actually one of our 3 key pillars of quality charter school oversight, is ensuring that as many students as possible have access to charter schools and school choice options within that parameter, as well as that everyone has equitable access to that. And this includes special populations particularly, so making sure that as many families and as many different types of families and students have access to quality school choices. There are lots of great examples of how the policies can be used to support enrollment and access in school choice. One of the big things is within lottery preferences, thinking about how the preferences that a school might choose to use can shape that student population at that school, and really be used to ensure that as many students as possible and a diverse group of students have access to that charter school. So for example, you can do, lots of states allow enrollment preferences for low-income students. So you could set up your lottery in such a way that low-income or free and reduced lunch students might receive a small preference in your lottery to ensure that you're attracting and serving a really diverse group of students. So that's a great example of how something like a small lottery preference for a high-need population can really shape and increase access to the charter and choice movement. There are really 2 big things that schools and policymakers can do to ensure as many families as possible have access to the application process. They fall into 2 broad categories. The first are things that the schools can do themselves without any sort of policy intervention. I encourage all schools to really examine how they run their lottery process and how they conduct the application process to make sure that you're making it as welcome and as easy for as many families to participate as possible. So really, do some self-reflection and look at the practices and processes that you're using. It might be as simple as adjusting some of your deadlines or making a form easier to access. That can really improve the number of families and the types of families that have access to that application and your school. So that's sort of self-examination of your practices. The second big thing from a policymaker perspective that we've been seeing a lot of and that NACSA certainly recommends is policymakers can put policies in place to help remove some of those barriers to access of those charter applications. So a big trend that we've been seeing in some communities particularly is moving towards common application processes. So instead of a parent having to go to multiple different schools to collect and submit an application for each charter school, doing one form where they can list the preferences, or doing a community event where they can go to one forum and meet with lots of different schools instead of having to seek out that information individually from each place. So policymakers have been helping to facilitate that through some common application processes and increased communication to try and ensure that those things happen. But that can be done by schools individually as well as by policy intervention.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope you found our video helpful in ways to provide families equitable access in the school choice process. We hope you have a fantastic National School Choice Week, and don't forget to check out our thought leadership piece for next year.